Hi, my name is Thor. I'm the coach of the Overwatch EU Contenders Team Sheer Cold. My goal is to coach in the Overwatch League. And to achieve this, besides obviously coaching contenders, I want to do a hit piece on an Overwatch League team every week, where I go over the weaknesses that I would exploit to beat this team. If you like the video, please share it on social media and hit the like button. Alright, I will start this off with going over the different compositions and put some bullet points on what I think we could exploit and also examples right afterwards. And at the end, I will give a quick summary of how I think the Washington Justice can be beaten. Let's start with the upper bubble composition. And the first thing that I noticed is that they fall under pressure. So what I mean with this is, generally speaking, the Justice is a more aggressive team. I think it is well known for this. But especially if you put a lot of pressure on the backline, they kind of fall apart in the way that they have bad kiting. So they always split up in this kiting. They have not, I think, not like really a synergy where they want to go, where the kiting path is. And this is like obviously exploitable because then if they're split, we can easily kill them. So my recommendation is to put a lot of pressure, put like a really aggressive stance against the backline, and they will make mistakes we can exploit later. Let's take a look at the game from the Justice against Fuel and Eichwalder. And basically the Fuel are going aggressive here, or like there's a big anti-nade, Justice is kiting, and we see how the Zarya, Anna and Brick still playing together now. But the moment they're like more under pressure, we especially see that from the Tracer and the Winston. The Zarya already kind of splits off to a different direction. Also always goes here. That's like already a mistake. We want to have the Anna, Brick and Zarya always together. But also in one more second, we see that the Anna and Brick are even splitting even more. So there's just, a miscommunication with like, okay, Anna can, do we kite this way to the mini? Do we kite this way, like, being in line of sight of the Brick? It is just, yeah, it's just simply a mistake. And obviously Zarya also being somewhere completely different. Yeah, Zarya gets killed, and this is a kind of a really exploitable thing in my opinion. And there's another example, same thing on the second point. Here we see there's Fuel getting ready to jump aggressively with an EMP in this case. And we especially look again on the enemy backline, on the Justice backline, Brick and Anna in this case. And they get impede, and immediately they're just like split off in completely different directions. And again, like I don't really mind in which direction they split. I think generally speaking here going to Zarya is more effective. But just that they are not together is really common. And especially if they're getting attacked, yeah, I think easily to exploit also. The second thing I want to point out is that they have sloppy rotations from the backline. And yeah, I think there's not much to say. Let's kind of jump right into example, because that's easier to see and to explain. And again, this happens not only from on this map here on Gibraltar against Fuel, but also on all the other matchups. So we see here the Justice trying to make a rotation from downstairs and getting up on the high ground. And what we see is that the Brick and the McQueen going really early, and the Zarya and the Anna going back. Dallas Fuel is engaging right now. And yeah, we obviously see like how easy it is for the monkey feelers in this case, just completely split them off with a bubble. And then if you could just choose, okay, do we go aggressive on the Brick and Queen, or do we just go on the Zarya and the Anna? And this is just a sloppy mistake. It's just a fundamental thing of if you make a rotation, obviously we want to go together. And yeah, this can be exploited easily with, again, putting a lot of pressure on the backline and being active especially. Don't let them be in position first and then fight. You want to already poke them or disrupt them in the rotation itself. Here's another example on the same map, which I think shows this really clearly. And it's here at the start. Again, Justice wants to make a rotation. Just speed it up a little bit. The rotation this time, I don't even know exactly where they want to go, but they obviously want to make rotation outside. And we see like how the McQueen goes early again. Zarya kind of goes behind, the Tealers are behind. And yeah, I mean, if Fearless now kind of just sees this, he is there, for example, with Sombra, with Thor, and with Sparkle. The McQueen is just dead. The healers cannot really help him. He's like, it's the easiest way for Fearless to just bubble them off. And again, like a sloppy mistake happens a lot of times. I would like to see this exploit against the Justice. And the last example be on the other side. Justice again making a rotation with Rally this time even, so obviously with Rally a more incentive to stay together, making rotation really like a really standard rotation from A to B towards the mini room and to get it to high ground. And yeah, we see they're going out and the Ana stays behind. We even see like that the who is it? That yeah, Baby even clearly makes this decision to go like one step behind. Like he even like presses the S key instead of like going with the team with the brick rally and stays behind yeah on occasion. And obviously yeah, this bubble completely spots him off. Like the Ana is completely useless in this fight and next fight because he cannot get through the bubble. And obviously also even if there would be, let's say, a Tracer or Sombra behind her, the brick cannot really help her. Or like at least with the rally cannot really touch her because they're just too split, which yeah again happens very often and is definitely a thing to exploit. Alright, the next thing you can exploit in my opinion is Jerry's greedy peaks and bad kiting paths. A lot of times he just stays too long on an unsafe position, or when he kites back he just splits from his team really, I don't want to say intentionally, but I mean he's just not coordinated with where the team is going. So to just show some examples here again, we have Gibraltar attack, or defense in this case, and yeah, basically the Fuel is kind of ready to dive at this moment. Like of course the Sparkle is not there, so they're not really preparing it right now. But yeah, Jerry is like away from the enemy team, and he stays there for a long time. The Sombra is kind of ready to dive him. Like he knows that the Winston is there. He also knows that Fearless has jump because he hasn't used it before, and even Zaya is in position. I'm not convinced that this is an intentional bait from the Justice. But yeah, I think an easy dive now on Jerry would force out so many cooldowns, if not killing him. And it's definitely worth it from Fuel, especially if they go in now. This cooldown trade is really effective to force out bubbles and as with everything I already said. And then he could just like push in and win the fight, not from the dive itself, but with the Zaya Brawl. And what actually happens is here he stays and stays and stays. Actually goes back. Unfortunately for him, he actually misses the jump here on top and dies from this. But yeah, he's just been staying too long. And another example of this behavior is shown in here. Like I'm obviously trying to show more examples to convince you that it's a thing that happens not only once, it like happens a lot of times. Where Jerry is kind of going a little bit greedy with his role usage. That goes back here and basically splits himself up with this role away from the enemy team. Like it is still better for him to join up with the team and make the rotation here because again, I mean here he's completely isolated. He even gets flanked from Spark and he's dead. Of course, it's a bad situation anyways because they get EMP and etc. But that his intentions is more like, okay, going away from the group, that just tells me he's not coordinated and he does not know where they're going, or basically the communication of Justice is not as good that they are all on the same page where they want to kite. And another example of the same behavior you can see in Ilios, where basically the Fuel are going aggressive on the backline. And Jerry, of course, I understand he gets hooped to the brick, but also like his role going aggressive in this moment. And obviously then his position where he's in now it reflects for me that he just is not comfortable having pressure on him when he tries to kite some. Another player that I want to highlight that has a abusable behavior is Assassin. And basically his playstyle is very defensive when it comes to Sombra and the Echo. He does not, especially with Sombra, does not like to initiate with an aggressive EMP, and he's using it more to peel for his backline. So basically they are looking for counterplay more than being aggressive with this kind of ultimates on their own. And in Echo, it is similar in his neutral play. Like he, of course, if he has an ultimate, he goes more aggressive and he likes to looks for kills. But his general idea is more being defensive and peeling for the backline. Show some examples of this. We jump into the game. The situation is that Justice are aggressing on the Dallas View. Obviously with Assassin having his ultimate. So they go in. Actually not make it as fast. We use the Primal, the Winston ult of course, and afterwards the Nano is committed from the Justice, so there is still a Nano monkey in form of mech that wants to look for aggression, but yeah, Assassin looks to peel for the backline, even though it's not really necessary because the brick is there to peel against the monkey. There was no need. And of course, the Justice are committing still further. And again, this is just one example out of many. He now peels against the monkey. In my opinion, it's way better to just kind of continue going aggressive DK and mech. But it's definitely something he does a lot in different scenarios, that he looks more to peel. And how to abuse this is basically just one monkey or like one player in enemy backline already forces a overcommitment. So looking for a more aggressive way to peel, like in my opinion, you know, if the monkey wants to peel for the backline, he can do this either defensively, that he stays and counter dives and looks for bubble here defensively speaking, especially to block grenades, or he could peel defensively in a way that he just puts counter pressure on the backline, force somebody to peel, or like basically tries that the Ana cannot be effective in the dive. And I think this way of playing is way more successful against the Justice in this case. But of course you have to be careful that you don't overcommit, because also especially against Assassin he will have this counter pressure. And also with Sombra, let's just show one example to not make the video too long. Actually some more seconds behind this. It's that Assassin is has an EMP, and they're looking basically to push forward here. And yeah, basically we see that Assassin is not even looking for any defensive measure. He just kind of stays there really nicely how he avoids the EMP, or he expects the EMP, but he looks more to like counter with his EMP on his own. And this is like a playstyle he prefers from all the time how he uses EMP. Most of the time he tries to use it more as a counter tool, and rather than obviously going aggressive on his own. And the last point I want to make when it comes to the double bubble of the Justice, it's a mech that what I just explained. When the Winston has the choice of peeling defensively or making space defensively, of like, you know, using his bubble by his team to block something in this way, or going aggressive on an enemy team, then he always chooses the aggressive option, which I think is exploitable in a way that you can either just like bait him in a way that he will know, okay, he will commit anyways, so we can just, you know, be ready for him and destroy him when he tries to kite away, because obviously the Justice are using this space that he creates to make a rotation. Or what I think is a way better way, but also what is the Jewel, what the Fuel are doing most of the time, you're just looking for aggressive anti-nades, which have a huge impact because the monkey is not there to peel for the nades or interrupts them before. We see here Justice making a rotation, and we see that Mag is not looking for, not in this case, not even looking for an aggression on the backline, what he should do, but he's also not playing with the team. For example, what I would prefer is that he just jumps up here, makes a bubble here, secures us this rotation, because there is no need, in my opinion, to be overly aggressive on the backline and trying to peel in this way. But yeah, if he does not go to the point, then he always goes to the enemy backline, which is easily peeled by the brick in this case, or generally speaking by the brick, because it's not meant as a dive where you want to kill somebody. It's mostly a distraction for the enemy backline. And yeah, you want to just look for a lot of anti-nades, aggressive anti-nades on their rotations. And this all comes to the same point, that against the Justice, I think the best thing you should do, or the easiest way to counter them, is being aggressive on your own and putting the enemy backline under a lot of pressure, and looking for your own initiations rather than surviving or peeling as much against Justice. I think having a higher tempo against Justice is really beneficial. Just to see, obviously, the anti-nade, it's two people in this case. Luckily, Fury has still a bubble, so they can negate this a little bit, but still this nade is kind of killing them. Let's talk about a composition that they're also playing a lot. It's the Winston Brawl. And in my opinion, it is definitely their weakest composition of what they've shown. Of course, they haven't shown the Brawl, which I want to mention at the end, like the Reinhardt Brawl, which I think, they haven't played it, so I don't know about it. but haven't shown it as much, let's say like this. And yeah, obviously, as we know, the Justice, they are playing aggressive as always, as obviously the composition also suggests. Other than this, I really want to highlight here again the EP usage more as a counter or in the mid fight. It is not used to initiate with the MP at all, or like he is not even trying to do it, in my opinion. And what I also noticed is that the Tracer and the Sombra have really bad synergy, because obviously one of the key advantages of playing this composition is that the Sombra and Tracer are kind of a hit squad, killing people with the hack and obviously with the Tracer damage. Meanwhile, the Brawl is obviously making the space, or like the Winston and the support players make the space. And I feel like the Sombra and Tracer for this are really dissynchronized when it comes to target focus. Let's take a look at an example. Yeah, example for the EMP usage, basically we have just a mid-fight situation here where Assassin looking to be effective, and yeah, his EMP basically again used in mid-fight, trying to counter in this case, I guess, the enemy team or making space in this way, but yeah, to just kind of initiate or not repeat my point. And another thing, to maybe look at the next fight, to see the aggression. We see basically Justice coming in looking for, coming to make a play. And obviously they're attacking, I mean of course they have to go aggressive in this case. And yeah, we see basically how they take space. And then also how they use the ultimates offensively when they see an opportunity. So we see basically them kiting, waiting to have point control, and then Lucio, play, and Blossom is a nice combo to overwhelm the enemy team as quickly as possible. And last but not least, the Echo Spam composition that they played, especially in Amura. Something I noticed there was especially they are playing really slow when they have an ultimate advantage, which I will show in a second. But I also want to already say the next point, which is the last one in this case, is that they have a relatively easy to read setup. What I mean with this is, if they are looking for to go aggressive, obviously the backline position is really close, which is, in my opinion, really easily scoutable, and then you can just adjust the tempo to be ready for this, yeah, and prepare it and obviously counter it. So to just show like the ultimate advantage, we see Justice here having a clear ultimate, or having an ultimate advantage when it comes especially to the tanks ults and the support ults. And yeah, they are looking to play this very slowly, which is, like, of course, the right choice because they have the Ana. But I especially want to point out here the ult usage, where they're looking for really now taking a long fight until really they, okay, we have to commit with the ultimates now. And again, this is just an example. This is also, in my opinion, their normal play. What they're doing not only in this fight, but also generally speaking, if they have an ultimate advantage, they are not using it. But they're trying to preserve the ultimates as much as possible. And I think this can just be, yeah, you can just counter this with obviously being more aggressive, or especially looking for aggressive EMPs in this case. And to point out their easy to read setups. We go to second point. A little bit behind. Yeah. And yeah, basically here we can see clearly how the Brick and the Ana obviously playing far away. So it means, I mean, it's a clear sign that, okay, they're not looking for any aggression on their own. They are looking to, yeah, play this slow. And then here on another point in time, on another fight, they are support players looking, or they obviously position themselves way closer, which obviously could be easily spotted by a Sombra. And this obviously means that they are looking for an aggressive fight, in this case going for an early rally and pushing the fuel when they're staging fight. And in my opinion, or like, this is just easy to scout, it's just a set play which can be abused, and you can adjust your tempo. And to summarize all of this, the War Shading Justice can't really play Reinhardt Brawl. We especially saw this against the game against Mayhem, that they are looking really weak against this Brawl combination. I don't know, you don't want to mirror it, or what exactly is the reasoning behind this. I think this is obviously something you to abuse. And yeah, other than this, how I would counter the Justice playstyle is I would be really aggressive. I would like try to look for a fast tempo, and especially put the backline under a lot of pressure, because then they will make mistakes, and these mistakes will force obviously a lot of cooldowns outdoor, maybe even a kill for our side. And yeah, the other thing is, if they have an ult advantage, they will always look for aggressive opportunities. Other than if they're playing the Ashe Echo composition, then it's actually the opposite. They will play it really conservatively. And if they have an ult disadvantage, then what they normally do is they are try to be really careful and kite their aggression, even though Meg still will go aggressive and look for aggressive opportunities. Generally speaking, the backline is looking more to kite this. So when it comes to the players, especially what I want to highlight there again is Jerry's greedy peaks when he plays McCree. I mean, he is obviously a McCree player, so only when he plays McCree. And his bad cutting paths, which I think can be abused. Assassin's defensive playstyle with Sunbound Echo, as mentioned before. And Meg as the last one in this case, who always chooses the aggressive option. Of course, like, why are the other players not here? It's just because I haven't noticed anything which is not standard. I also want to make clear here, this is obviously not like everything what Justice is doing. There's just all the other things that they're doing is in my thought more standard, and I haven't mentioned this because of this, because there's nothing in my opinion that you can abuse, especially because of them playing, or because of the Justice playing, because it's just how it's supposed to be. Alright, I hope that you liked this video and it was helpful, and yeah, please share this on social media and the like button, and hopefully you also tune in for next time. Bye bye.